Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of the Finish More Music podcast. So, I've spoken on this show a number of times now about the importance of seeking and obtaining feedback. In fact, it's not even the importance, it's how essential it is for any artist's development. And this is across the board, right? You name one pro athlete, one entrepreneur, one top CEO, one pro producer who doesn't have a consistent source of feedback. We had, for example, Dubfire, huge name in techno, Grammy nominated producer, massive DJ and performer. He came into FMM and he gave a masterclass with his mixing engineer. And he spoke about the importance of having feedback, even now, with all of these accomplishments. And Bill Gates, great quote, we all need feedback. That's how we improve. I mean, it's just stating the obvious. How are you supposed to improve when you don't know what you don't know? Well, the answer must be to seek feedback from people who do know what you don't know. But one of the mistakes that I see a lot of producers making is a failure on their part when it comes to receiving feedback, receiving it in a way that benefits them and benefits the person who is giving them the feedback. Because it is very easy, if you don't know how to receive feedback, to not only waste its potential to help you improve, but also to alienate the people who are supporting you and trying to help you, and to deter them from doing so again in the future. So in this episode, what I'm going to be talking about is how to receive feedback, because there is an art to this. Now, one of the things that I want to be clear on right at the top of this episode is that I am talking about the type of feedback that you receive that is valuable, it's actionable, it's constructive, it's encouraging. It's the type of feedback you get from your peers who are invested in your success, from mentors, from people you trust, from people who know how to leave good feedback. Now, that in itself might seem like, well, it's easy, isn't it? You just give feedback. But actually, no, there's an art and a science to it, because it's really easy. And maybe you've experienced this yourself. Maybe you've given feedback or you've received it. And when you look at it, if you are giving it, go, I'm not sure if, the way I've positioned that or the way that I've said that is going to be helpful to the person. Maybe it won't help them to progress. At worst, may I have dented their creative confidence. Maybe you've received feedback from people that has dented yours. Because feedback is an art. It's about honing your critical listening skills, the way you position things, your creative problem-solving skills. And it's something that we teach inside of FMM. I actually built an entire course on it to show people, because who doesn't want to hone their critical listening skills? Because you can use it in your own music. Who doesn't want to hone their creative problem solving skills? You can use it in your own music. And who doesn't want to contribute to the success of others? I hope you do. I hope you do. You're, in all honesty, in the wrong place if you're listening to this podcast, if you're all in it for yourself, because that is not what we're all about here. Okay? That's the type of feedback I'm talking about. Good, positive, actionable, constructive feedback from people you trust. What I'm not discussing here is the type of, I wouldn't even call it feedback, but maybe critique even, that so often we find online. Maybe you've experienced this. Perhaps this is in a forum or a Facebook group, on your SoundCloud. Maybe you put something up on YouTube. And certainly if you haven't experienced it directly, I'm sure you've seen other people having a pop out there, whether it is about someone's music or a YouTube tutorial, whatever it is in the comments. There are people who are out there who are narcissistic, who are ego-driven, who are spiteful, who will attack you and make it about you and not the music, will talk down to you, belittle you, tell you what you should do, point out what's not good, how you aren't good. And sometimes it's not all about someone being a narcissist, an egotistical nutcase or any of those things. Sometimes it's coming from a place of good intention, but actually it isn't landing because, as I said, they just don't have that in their skill set. They don't have it in their locker. And if you've been on the receiving end of this or witnessed this happening, maybe it's put you off from getting your music out there. whether that's for sending your music to labels or whether it's from sharing it with others for feedback in a public place or even in a forum. Maybe it's dented your self-confidence and you don't want to get your music out there. That is not the type of feedback I'm addressing here. I am addressing how to receive the good stuff, the type of feedback that is going to help you to grow and reach your full potential as a music producer. And it's really important that I underline that, because the best way to deal with people who are aggressive and all the rest of it, quite frankly, is to ignore them, and dare I suggest even to pity them, because it's never about you, it's always about them. Okay? So with that flag in the ground where you can comfortably see it, let's talk about how to receive feedback and why it's so important to do so in, I say the right way, but in a way that you are going to most benefit from it, and also the people giving it to you are most going to benefit from the way you receive it. So let me say this first and foremost. Feedback is a gift. It's a good note to take down. Feedback is a gift. It is either you giving or you, in this case, receiving a gift from someone. So when you receive a gift, what is the first thing that you would typically do? Show gratitude, right? You are effectively receiving a present. So we show gratitude for it. We be thankful for it. I'm going to give you an example of this. So we have what we call the members event inside of the FMM community, and our members, as I mentioned, are trained on how to give feedback, and they give amazing high quality, like lengthy pieces of feedback. There's often diagrams and screenshots and videos and resources and all of these different things included. And this is an example from Tim in our community, who received a piece of feedback, and here's what he replied. Thanks so much for this great feedback. I think everything you mentioned is spot on. I so much admire your tracks, production skills, and the feedback you provided others, so I'm grateful you chose to listen and provide constructive feedback on my track. This will certainly help my future tracks as well. Thanks again. Big exclamation mark. God, who wouldn't want, when you give a gift, to have someone that grateful for it? Now, the opposite of that isn't to say nothing. When you get crickets and radio silence, if you gave gifts to someone, they just took it and wandered off with it, you probably stop giving gifts sooner rather than later, right? There is a joy in giving gifts, but if people just are blanking you, well, that's not great. But actually, in this case, the opposite of being grateful isn't saying nothing. It's being defensive or dismissive. And maybe you've caught yourself doing this at some point in your life. It's very, very easy to do. But this would be saying things, and I mean just in general, like in any aspect of your life, when someone offers some advice, sometimes unsolicited, people do get very kind of defensive. But even if you've asked for it and you don't maybe quite like what you wanted to hear, or maybe a bit of ego gets in the way, if you were to respond with something that's like, I don't like that suggestion, or I can't do that because, or I've tried this and it doesn't work. Some way that maybe you're fighting for your limitations, or even if the feedback isn't going to be useful for you, you say it instead of just saying, thank you very much. Everyone's received a present at Christmas that hasn't lit them up. But do you go, no, that's no good for me? Or is it like, thanks very much? And even if you're not going to use it, you're still polite and kind and considerate to the person who's contributed to you. So be really mindful if you catch yourself feeling defensive or being dismissive. Be grateful for the gift you've received, even if you're not going to use it, okay? My next piece of advice here is to strike up conversation. So again, be grateful, but is there a conversation to be had around this? Are there questions that maybe you have that you'd like to ask the person? How might you be able to interact with this person and build up some kind of relationship and friendship with them? It's always a valuable resource to have, right? To know more people that can contribute to your success, and you can do likewise. So striking up a conversation, being grateful. And if you are definitely going to put it into action. Tell the person. And when it's done, let them know how you got on. Because people are giving gifts because it feels amazing to give a gift. It's wonderful to contribute. And that just gets heightened when people see it actually taking action on it, right? So I'm going to read something else out now. This is from Steve, again in our members event, replying to a member who left some amazing feedback. Imagine if you'd given feedback and you received this reply. I only just got home from my shift. Wow, thank you so much for such detailed feedback. I'm blown away with the time you've taken to study my track to the finest detail, and I'm so happy to hear the suggestions you've advised, as I feel this has unlocked the missing pieces in regards to where exactly I wanted to take it to. And as I knew something was missing, I'm so excited now to implement your ideas and get this completed. Absolute gold, Ian. Really appreciate all of your points and suggestions. You absolutely nailed it, and I'll be implementing everything you suggested. My gosh, how does Ian feel now? What sort of relationship is already building there? The gratitude that's coming back. The fact that you know you've made such a powerful contribution to somebody else's journey. It's just huge, right? Feels great. Now, the last thing that I'm going to say on this, we've looked at the telling people how you're going to use it, and then when you've done it, letting them know how you got on, striking up a conversation, and gratitude. I'm going to add one thing to the end of this, which isn't so much about your response to receiving feedback, but is something that I think is really, really important, and it is quite simply pay it forward. Pay it forward. Selfish people are time thieves. People who are always on the take and are not contributing. They're thieving from the pool of success. They're thieving people's time. They only care about what's in it for them. And they are a drain on any community, family, circle of friends. If you pay it forward, if you give feedback to others, if you contribute more than you take, then you leave the universe a better place than you found it. Little phrase for your notes. Give not to get, give to inspire others to give. Let me say that again. Give not to get, give to inspire others to give. Who wouldn't want to live in a world like this? So, in summary to this episode, if you fail to receive feedback with grace, with gratitude, with an openness to learn, then you will waste its potential to help you, while simultaneously alienating the very people who want to contribute to your success. If on the flip side, you offer thanks, enthusiasm, you demonstrate that openness to learn and implement what you've been given, to use the gift you've been given, and you pay that kindness forwards, then you're going to maximize the effectiveness of the feedback. You will build valuable relationships that will aid you on your creative journey, and you will also get to aid others on their creative journey as well. To me, it seems like a no-brainer, but as always, only you can decide what you want to do next. So I'd love to hear from you. Hit me up on Instagram at @IamKeithMills. What resonated for you in this podcast? What stuck out to you? It's super useful for me to get your feedback, to understand what you like, what's helping you, how I can further help you to grow. If you've got any other ideas for episodes, subjects, topics you'd like me to cover, I'm always super open to it. So please do ping me. I'm forever grateful for anyone who has already, and I know that some of you will know that already your ideas have been recorded and we've put them out into the world, covering the different topics that you're keen to learn more about, and that will help you to reach your own personal version of success. So please do ping me if you've got something on your mind. I'd love to hear from you. Once again, it's at @IamKeithMills on Instagram. Show notes, finishmoremusic.com/164. And talking about this concept of paying it forward. If you're enjoying these episodes, if you're taking value from it, then please do leave a review. Jump on wherever it is, for example, the Apple podcast platform, put a review in there, even if it's only like, a single line, not really just to let me know. Okay, it's more about the fact that the more reviews there are, the more the podcast is visible and the more likely someone else is to find it. And if you've taken benefit from it, maybe they will too. So you never know when you cast that rock into the pond, how far those ripples will go, who you will affect and who they will affect and who they will affect. It is incredible to learn how a small action can have such a huge impact somewhere down the line. So if you do find this useful, if it resonates with you, if at any point the podcast has helped you on your journey, then please do pay that forward to other people by pinging a review on your platform of choice. Well, on that note, I hope you enjoyed this. Do take care. Until our next episode, happy music making.